So what do you do when a seller is unrealistic about price? Well, I know a lot of agents out there just want to get the listing, so they think that they have to tell the seller whatever they want to hear. But honestly, by going in that direction, you set the client up for failure and you set yourself up for failure. A lot of agents will do it that way because they know inside that they are at some point going to drop it on the seller, that they have to do a price reduction. I have a different approach. My approach is I've mentioned it before, how I get really engaged on my listing appointments. I bring out my laptop, I go remote, I'm pulling up the MLS, I'm going through the comps, I'm showing them real-time information. I'm putting the proof, the math right in front of them, and the numbers don't lie. But sometimes you're going to get a seller who's looking at public online sources for information, and they swear their property's worth this much or that one over there and so forth. Okay, well, you don't want to lose the listing, but at the same time, you don't want to carry through and, like I said, set yourself up and the client up for failure. Okay, so what I usually do is I'll make an agreement with them, or I propose this to them. I'll say, okay, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, whoever the seller is, how about this? Look, I know you believe your home is worth this much, and I'm recommending that we price it here, this much, to drive traffic in, because I would always rather err on the side of pricing it too low and guaranteeing a lot of showings, a lot of visits, and probably multiple offers, and the opportunity to send multiple counters and get buyers competing with each other. I'd rather go that direction than to price it too high and no one comes to the party. You have no activity, no request to show, likely no offers, and you sit. And the deeper you go into sitting, usually and psychologically for whatever reason, once you hit 10 days or more and then 15, 20, 21, your listing gets stale. And the number of phone calls and the interest dies pretty rapidly. People start making up stories in their head on what's wrong with that property. In a market where properties are selling fast or at a reasonable pace, why is it sitting there? They start making up stories. Maybe it's got problems. Maybe something's wrong with it. Maybe something's going on with the neighborhood. You end up sitting even longer. And then eventually when you do get offers, you get low ball offers. Okay, so what do? I usually propose this. I will tell the seller ahead of time, look, okay, we can go to market at your price. But if we don't get activity, if we don't get phone calls to show, if we obviously don't get traffic through the door, if we don't get offers, which gives us the ability to write multiple counters and get the competitive juices flowing with the buyers, if we don't have that kind of activity within the first, let's say, in this market especially, in the first 5 to 7 days or so, we need to take an action. And that action is to reduce it to this price, which is a price I believe will get heads through the door. I'm also using body language when I'm having that conversation with them. I'm nodding positively, and you'd be amazed how folks start mirroring you on the other side. They start nodding with you. They start going in your direction. What happens next is usually this. Usually they are going to agree, okay, that's fair enough. We'll start off at their price, and if it's not working out, and they see for themselves, then we'll make that adjustment. You got to make that adjustment pretty quick though, because if you do it deep into the double digits days on market, you're already getting stale. Okay, so you got to take that action early. Once you do price reduce it to that price likely that's going to get people through the door, you're likely probably going to get a result. Okay, from that point on, that seller more so is going to do things the way you propose. Their way didn't work. You don't have to rub it in. They're probably not going to admit it. Okay, they know it though. And from that point on, they do it your way likely. Okay, and you're likely going to get heads through the door, offers on the table, counters out, and people competing for that listing. Even in challenging markets, price sells. Honestly, doesn't matter what condition a home is in or the issues surrounding it. For the right price, someone will pick it up. Okay, so what I do is from the beginning, I'm planting the seed. I'm getting them to see the scenario. I'm painting the picture of what is likely going to happen at their price, and I'm painting the picture, of what is likely going to happen at my price. Okay? They usually agree with that. When that time comes, when you do have to price reduce it, it's human nature that, hey, they had an agreement with you and they don't want to break that promise, and they usually fall in line with it. And then, like I said, you end up getting the better result, and they see that and they start following suit from your advice from that point on. Okay? So get out there and talk with them, connect with them, plant that seed. Don't have blindsided ideas of how you're going to handle things during the transaction. Tell them all up front, because people don't receive not great news very well when it's a surprise. But when you forecasted it and told them ahead of time, and especially when you told them what their options would be, they're likely to take it, choose an option, and go with it.